Hello, hello, hello. So happy that you're all here. Hello, everyone. It is such a delight, always a delight, to be able to facilitate a panel discussion for SacredU.Love. I'm Jennifer Regular, and in this Inspire, Innovate, and Ignite series, we get to have conversations that count. Today's panel discussion is focusing on embodied leadership and is in collaboration with the Wake Up and Change the World Global Summit, which I've been hosting this week and includes some of the members of SacredU.Love. Right now, we have award-winning coach's coach and promoter of Conscious Businesses Uplifting Humanity. That is Ms. Deb King. Elizabeth Elenor is also here. She is a qualified magnetic mind coach and founder of the Women of Light movement, guiding women to their superconscious intuition, divine wisdom, and creative genius. Also here is trauma-aware transformational coach, somatic practitioner, and energy healer, Heidi Henyon. Dr. Jessika Satori is also here, and she is the owner and leader of a Creative Force leadership development company and multi-time author. Supriya Prasad is the energy healer for businesses all around the world and creator of the Business Chakras System. So you know this is going to be an absolutely incredible discussion. So let's get started. You're about to hear these expert panelists share their best strategies for stepping into your deepest passions, embodying your truth, and how to align your vision to fulfill your mission. In this next hour, you will discover the essential steps to take so you can elevate your life, self-worth, and start devoting your life to what you're most about. I am so glad you're all joining us, because when you embody leadership and free yourself to live based on what you need rather than what other needs from you, how amazing would life be then? So panelists, I ask you, what does embodied leadership mean to you? Supriya, would you like to start us off?
Sure. Embodied leadership means you're practicing what you preach. And to me, that's been a practice that I've been doing more so in the past few years now, and making sure that you are making sure that you're in integrity with what you are teaching. There were some moments that I was like, oh gosh, like, am I actually, doing all these things to manifest and everything? And, we're not perfect. I mean, none of us are perfect. But it's going towards what we desire and what we want to teach for our audience and who our clients are, and everything in between.
Absolutely. And I love, Supriya, that you use the word integrity, because it's so true to be in alignment and living those values and doing that across the board. So not showing up one way in your family, in your job, with your friends, like you embody that leadership wherever it takes you, wherever you are that embodied leader. So I love that. I love that, walking in integrity and walking your talk, right? Yeah. Absolutely. Dr. Jessika Satori, what do you have to say about embodied leadership?
That helps. So I just wanted to say, my doctor, I'm not a medical doctor and I'm not a therapist, but I'm a doctor because I studied leadership. And I've been studying it for 30 years and was awarded my doctorate 25 years ago. And that's when we studied leadership, and it was an intellectual exercise. And so I'm now so glad we're living in the time of body, mind, and spirit being so important. Our intellect comes from all three areas, plus beyond that as well. But embodied means being centered and getting wisdom, not only from books, other people, but the knowledge that's within us, our creativity and divinity. So that's what embodied leadership is for me.
You're muted, Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Thank you. I love that. And I love this modern or maybe even ancient take on bringing in that divinity, bringing in the ancient practices and really stepping into sovereignty, our spiritual sovereignty, our divine self, being able to harness our passion as we lead and lead from the front and leading from the chorus. I know that Lisa talks about, who has my name today for some reason. I noticed that, hey, there's another Jennifer regular in the room. And the way I see passion is when you break up the word, it's pass I on. And that I is your soul's expression of what you're here to pass on in this lifetime. So I love that you brought up that divinity. Deb King, the coach's coach. I know you got something to say about this.
Well, I totally agree. We've been living in a world where we've been in our head, thinking, doing, and kind of cutting the rest of ourselves off, whereas it's time to be in our body and fully aligned. And for me, it's being love and being an energy master. Everything's energy. So the more we can master our energy and really express our truth, our inner wisdom, our love that wants to ooze out, that is a beautiful way to be a leader and embodied with it and following that path that is going to be our own unique path. And what's exciting is, many of us probably grew up with a lot of masculine leadership, the opportunity now is more feminine leadership, which is very unique. We have our own way to be sacred with that, and it's going to look different in terms of what myself as an embodied leader is to someone else. And that's really exciting. I think there's so much opportunity as we learn to be in our body, connect with our inner wisdom, be aligned in all aspects, and also, of course, have a lot of joy and fun with it.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that about understanding and recognizing the energy that we put into being a leader, but that we put into the world, how we're expressing ourselves through that. Because as we know, it's not so much the words that people remember, they remember how we make them feel. And so that energy that we're projecting out there is so important and absolutely something that we need to recognize. And no matter what kind of role we're taking on, no matter what kind of label that we want to put on ourselves, on our job, our career, or parenthood, or any of those things, it's that spirit that we bring into it and how we share that spirit and really free our spirit to direct the life that we're meant to live. So Heidi, I know that you're an expert in all this energy work. So how do you see embodied leadership?
I see it a number of ways. I want to say ditto to what everybody has said. I mean, such wisdom around it. And I spent many, many years, I retired from corporate America in 2001 after 25 years. And it was interesting because I was learning to do leadership and allow my the feminine, creative, more flowing, that sort of nurturing side come out. And it was really interesting because the company, I did some businesses within larger companies, and they were always very successful. And one of the reasons the employee said was because they felt that I was present, that they were being nurtured, because that's the one thing, on top of what everybody else is saying, most people don't work for money. They work because they want to be with the person that's leading, and they want to feel fulfilled in the environment, and they want to feel that people are present and seeing them. And I think embodied leadership is really the ability to see people as they are and help develop those characteristics of who they are, rather than trying to switch them into something they're not. And I think that's another one that I would add to what everybody else is saying, is that being present, and then understanding the uniqueness of the people you're leading and really helping them to embody themselves and empower them.
I absolutely love that. Leader is one who helps to empower and uplift. And what I've heard someone else say in the past too is that a true leader is one who's not going after followers. A true leader is someone who creates other leaders. Yeah, love that. Love that. Elizabeth, I'd love to know what you think of embodied leadership.
Yeah, thank you, Jennifer. And I totally agree with everyone, what everyone's saying. And as I was reflecting, it's, to me, embodied leadership is really knowing thyself, right? And getting to know who you are as a person, because, when you really look at it, we're all leading someone in some way. Even the little kids, leading their friends in a game, or so leadership is something that is innate to all of us in one way or another. It's whether we're leading from our dysfunction or whether we're leading from our genius zone and our divine wisdom, really. And being able to know who we are ourselves, so that we can use our own personal experience to lead others, like Heidi was saying, so that we can emanate what that is, and others can see who they are through that process, instead of following, as you were just saying about a quote. There's a beautiful quote I remember from years ago with Neil Donald Walsh, and he said, a leader isn't someone that says, follow me. A leader is someone that says, I'll go first. And it's such a beautiful, I've always loved that quote, because, as a leader, you can get caught up, like I've had people lead me that get caught up in the ego of their leadership. And it's been something that I have always made sure that as a leader, I'm just saying, follow, I'm going first, but you're also taking that journey, right? So I think it's all about embodying yourself and understanding who you are and leading from that place rather than from the dysfunction and the ego. So
Oh yeah, so well said. I absolutely love everything that's being shared, and I love discussions like this, so that we can really go in depth and really start to understand at the core what leadership really means and how we can truly embody that. And one of the ways is to really know what we stand for. What is our message? What are we there to be an advocate of, to send a message about, to lead from the front with, to go first, to be able to devote our life to what we're most about? What is it that you stand for, Elenor? And how do you clear the way for that?
So I actually stand for the fact that we are all extremely powerful beings, and we just need to remember who we are, that we're all actually divinely connected with this beautiful, what I call the superconscious, this amazing field of information with all of the codes of all possibilities. But we have forgotten that, and we've recognized ourselves as an individual and limited ourselves. So we as we get born and the umbilical cord is cut, all of a sudden we see ourselves as individual, or we experience ourselves as individual. And as we go through life, especially those first 3, 4, 5 years, we're recognizing or looking at, how do I be to be safe and to belong and to be nurtured and all this sort of stuff. So we, through our environment, find out who and how we have to perform to stay alive through our unconscious. But then what happens is that unconscious then starts recognizing itself as, this is who I am, and nails in, like, this is who I am, and forgets that that limitless being that we were prior. And so the way I lead all of my work is to remind people how powerful they are, and that they actually are limitless. And let's start creating from that place instead of our limitation. So it's all about reminding people who they are in the process of their divinity.
Yes, I love it, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I could hear your passion in your voice as you express that. And that's true, embodied leadership. Supriya, what do you stand for? And how do you clear the way for that?
That's a really good question. I always stand for, anything that's within my integrity. I always stand for, always giving. Whatever I do, I always make sure it comes from the heart. And I always try to work with people in the same way, that are the same way, that are always willing to give and, receive with their heart. And, and if that doesn't really happen, in anything that I do, then it's either A, not a good fit, or B, I shouldn't be doing that. And of course, I deal with energy all the time. So I feel it. I feel if something is not within alignment or integrity or anything like that, I will feel it. So if something, and in the past, when I wasn't, always in energetic alignment, I would move forward with something, and that wasn't really, that I didn't really feel. And then of course it would just bite me, right? Whenever I did something like that. And I was moving forward with things that I probably shouldn't have been moving forward with. And, you have to come back to your heart, is what I always say. You have to come back to your heart and what your soul and who you are. And I think Elizabeth said that pretty well. Be moving forward with who you are and what your heart desires, I think, is key there.
Thank you for that. I love that, being able to connect with your heart. I heard someone recently say that energetically, when we're going through a leadership pursuit or a journey, that we actually come from our solar plexus more so than our heart. And since you are the Business Chakras System specialist, I wonder what your thoughts are around that. Is it the heart? Is it the solar plexus? Or how do they connect? Or is it somewhere else in the chakra system?
It's funny. The Vedic chakras, from Upanishads, the heart and the solar plexus are one. So there was originally a 5 chakra system, and the whole solar plexus and the heart were one. So if you think about it, you're really making your decisions with your gut and your heart a lot. So yeah, when it comes through that stuff, it is one. So yeah, like so the solar plexus represents your confidence, your self-esteem, your worthiness. And I would also argue, a lot of people would also argue that your heart kind of does the same thing, but there's more compassion, there's more empathy, there's more love. It rules all that. So if you were to think about it, those two are kind of one and the same, because we kind of operate off of the same sort of premise in that sense. So yeah, we do, whenever we make decisions and whenever we make like full heart-centered decisions, yeah, we do operate from the heart, but a lot of the heart comes from confidence. Confidence also rules the other lower chakras too, the savasana, which is the sacral, and the muladhara, which is the root. Those kind of rule the lower chakras too. So if you're trying to make a decision, you're trying to go with your heart and trying to see if something is within integrity, the lower chakras also have to be like, you have to kind of also look at those too within the heart. But it's funny that you say that though, with the heart and the solar plexus, because those two are really one and the same if you think about it.
Thank you so much for clearing that up. I love that. That's amazing. Heidi, what do you stand for, and how do you make way for that?
I love what Supriya just said, and Elizabeth, about the heart and the solar plexus, because in the energy that I've done and stuff, it is because we do function out in this world, we have to be able to feel it which is really the gut kind of stuff. And then we get to open our heart and feel from that upper level. So anyway, I look forward to getting in touch with Supriya to learn more about that. That sounds fun, the way she's put it together. I love that. What do I stand for? The work that I do now, and even the retreat center that I run, is for me really about creating a nurturing environment, especially because I work with trauma and some pretty severe, women and men who have been through a lot of severe stuff in childhood and things like that. The biggest thing about that nurturing environment is so that they can become their own best friend. When we're our own best friend, we can be leaders, we can be empowered, we can move forward, because as Elizabeth was saying, are you leading from your dysfunction, or are you leading from, your higher, stronger place? And so that's a lot of what I do, is to help people become their own best friend, because I think once we do that, then we can tap into the uniqueness that we are, the gift that we are. We can start healing that sense of separation. And I don't know that I like the word healing, because I don't know, it's kind of like we get to remember that we're not separate. So healing's an interesting word. I almost would like to get rid of it in the talk, because we're whole, we're full beings. So many things happen when we grow up. It's kind of like, it's one of these conversations I'm going to have when I die. The other side is like, I really don't understand why us humans have to do this. It makes no sense. We know there's this amazing unity, and then we go through years of feeling separate from all of it, and then we spend the latter half of our life trying to get back into it. But on the other hand, it's also when you raise kids. Anyway, I could go on, but I think the biggest thing for me is I really stand for all of us really learning to trust and be our own best friend, have just the wonderful voices in our head instead of the critic and things, because then I think we can move forward in the world and be much better at leading.
Absolutely. I love what you stand for. I also like that you brought up the language that we use, because it does have impact. We're talking about healing. People can think of it as coming back into wholeness, like you said, and remembering, because there's so much that dispirits us in the world, that makes us break down or fall apart or become fragmented. When we remember, we're remembering all those parts that have become dismembered. And so I think, the underlying concept of healing and remembering all has to do with that coming back into wholeness, that realignment that we talk about quite often too. It's all coming back in that oneness and being in integrity and being in alignment. I think it's beautiful that you brought that up. Thank you for that. Deb King, I'm curious, what do you stand for, my lady? And how do you clear the way for that?
Well, interesting. I stand for love, joy, and well-being, so that we can co-create our best possible future. And it's interesting we're talking about healing, because I really feel what we focus on, we get more of. So I purposely choose well-being, because I feel that's our truth. And it's like healing doesn't even come into it in a way. You know what I mean? It's not to disrespect healing, just what if we just focus on what we really want and who our true nature is? And so love, joy, well-being, co-creating our best possible future, which is absolutely possible, because I love to use the example, I think I've spoken to you about it, Jennifer. If we just kind of look at anything that happened BC before COVID, it all needs a refresh. And we can actually create anything if we choose to do that, right? Because anything is possible. And so the way we do that right now in the Wisdom Playground is work with coaches who also have wisdom to uplift humanity in some way, and help them really make the impact and money they want, so they can be thriving, helping more people, and really co-creating this future that is possible, that we can all design. And I think that the key thing is that every single one of us is a piece of the jigsaw puzzle. We all have value, we all have wisdom, we all have expertise that is needed And it may not have been celebrated in the past because it's not fit into a certain box, but it's needed right now because the box is gone. So it's a really exciting, we live in such an exciting time. And yeah, I stand for those things. And I think when you said what clears the way is really to, every time I wobble out of, if I feel doubt, I think doubt's a really big thing. Judgment can get in the way, all those things, is to just keep bringing myself back to being present. I think that was mentioned earlier, being present and choosing where to focus, choosing to consciously create rather than keep focusing on what I don't want. So it's really, really where I'm at right now. So thank you for asking.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Dr. Jessika Satori, what do you stand for? And how do you clear the way for that?
So I stand for economic opportunity. I work with entrepreneurs, and I see entrepreneurship as a way to level the playing field and to develop leaders. Because being an entrepreneur, you use every part of your knowledge. And so I want to make people stronger, because when I think one of the true gifts of an entrepreneur is to be able to create entrepreneurs from their own employees. That's the gift. I also work with people, and this is an interesting place, but I think we've all been in it, is where we've been the intuitive, we've been the empathic, we've been the strongly focused, centered leader, but we're not appreciated from the people above us and may not be appreciated by the people below us. And I see that a lot in corporations. And how do we still develop a person to be able to be centered and then to make the choice, well, maybe I don't belong here and maybe I do need to leave. So it's working that transition. So I stand for helping people find their true divinity. That's what I stand for.
Thank you so much for being in service to humanity in that way. Absolutely. So beautiful. And as I mentioned earlier, this panel discussion right now is in collaboration with the Wake Up and Change the World Global Summit. And all day we've been focusing on conscious leadership. And one of those amazing sessions was facilitated or run by Lisa DePampoulos, who's also in the Zoom room with us. And so Lisa's session is all about leading from the core, from your core essence. And I wonder, Lisa, if you'd be willing to share a little snippet from that with us.
Well, I'm totally unprepared to do that, but yes, I will. I just came on as a attendee. Yeah, I think it's really important. I mean, everybody has been saying basically what I believe. I really, I love this group, love what everybody's saying. And I truly believe that we're here to be the role models. That's how we can be conscious embodied leaders, is to go through the experiences, gain the wisdom, and share the wisdom with those that we're meant to serve. And those who resonate with us will follow in the journey and gain their own experiences and lead others. And I just think our core essence is divinity, and returning to that divinity, which everybody has mentioned, is being aligned and centered and coming back to center over and over again, is how we can embody our leadership, how we can really align with our core essence and walk the talk, if you will. Like, that's the old adage, or whatever anybody says, right? Is we have to be the person to go through what we're teaching, or it doesn't resonate with people. It's like that's the new energy, right? And that's what we're all doing. That's, as entrepreneurs, that's what we're doing. And that's why we get so rewarded when we get to teach and share our wisdom, is because that's what we're meant to do. And so I don't know if that answered your question, Jennifer, and I don't even know if that's what I talked about, but that's what came to me today.
Absolutely, Lisa. Thank you so much for that. And absolutely, I'm all tangled up in my cord here. Absolutely. You know, there's different types of leaders too. There's those of us that will light the fire underneath you, and they're kind of the pushy types, you know, that light a fire under you and kind of push you in a certain way and to do certain things and to like, okay, get going, come on, come on. And then there's the type of leaders that light up something inside of you, like the fire inside of you, right? Those are the inspiring ones as well. And there's also the kind of leader that lights the path before you, right? That lights up the path before you so that you can walk that in integrity and in your power, and just kind of shows you the way that you could go if you wanted to. There's no pushing, there's no imposing. It's just simply illuminating what is ahead of you, what else is possible. And so I love what you just shared with that. And one of the things that's important too, is we talked about coming back to ourselves, always coming back. And we do get off track sometimes. We do get unfocused sometimes. And so what are the ways that we can help sustain our passion and our drive? What keeps us in alignment with our mission and what we stand for? And Deb, you touched on this a little bit earlier, so I'd love for you to start the discussion around that.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I feel that it's so natural that that this can happen. It happens all the time. I mean, in this crazy world we live in, there's so much that's going on that if we focus on can feel really crappy. And then if we're in business can be challenging. There's stuff that's not going to work the way we think we want it. And I think one of the quotes that I love is, the problem is we think we shouldn't have problems. We're always going to have problems, they're just different kind of quality problems. And if we can see them from a different angle with curiosity, and for me, one of the things that has given me the most peace is just really trusting in the perfection of everything. Even if it hasn't worked out the way I think I wanted, to actually know that it is absolutely perfect and leading to the best possible path. And that I've witnessed over and over again enough. For me, that is an embodied knowing, thank goodness, because it's very, very powerful to have that. And so for those who I feel that maybe slightly feeling off path, just to know there is no off path. It's just all just is what it is. We just label things good, bad, right, wrong. Nothing actually is that. So it's like we take a breath and actually get into curiosity and play with things and experiment and see it all as an experiment. The challenge is if we're in business, and there are a lot of coaches who are struggling, who have big hearts, and they're still not kind of getting there. And that's why we've got a huge mission to change that and get more thriving. But the thing is, when we don't have the money we want, we can really have much more attachment and desperation to having things work out in the outcome we're seeking. That is where we cause more stress, and it's like it's an interesting dance. When we really, really, really want something, often we're holding it away from ourselves anyway. So let go and let go and play is what I would say. But yeah, curiosity. And I think Jennifer, every time we talk about curiosity.
I'm curious about what that would be about. Yes, allowing yourself to play. Remember that work, rest, and play, and somehow it all became work and try to rest. But then when we're trying to resting, we're thinking about working, and then play. I don't even know what happened to that. So yes, let's bring back play. Let's bring back the play. Yes.
Yay.
Elizabeth, what sustains you on the path of leadership? How do you stay true to your mission?
It's a great question. And it's actually what I teach, or, I guide my clients with. And so we can be focused, be led by our dysfunction, our unconscious patterns and conditioning, and all the doubts and fears and all that sort of stuff, because that's 95% of the time, that's what our programming is. Like we'll have an inspiration about something, but within seconds, our unconscious is going to come in and give you all of the information of why, that limited information of why you can't have that, or why you can't do that, because you're not this, you're not that, blah, blah, blah. And what about last time? And blah, 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 blah. And so that tends to be our path of least resistance. We generally find ourselves listening to that unconsciously because it's the one that speaks the loudest. So when you're looking to move into your higher self, move into your embodiment, move into that divinity that you are and your limitlessness, your creative genius, it's being diligent with it by taking ownership. And every morning, what I do is I make that choice. So I make the choice to step into my embodiment of my leadership. I make the choice, I've got choices that I make every morning: living the life I love, being living healthily, living as the predominant creator in my life, so that I'm the one making my choices, living my true nature and purpose. All of those, I really energetically, I feel into them and I align to them every morning, so that I'm creating a set point. And I can feel that embodiment. I can feel that. And then I ask those questions in this space. What are my actions today? What is it that I'm going to do? What am I going to create from that place? So asking yourself really good questions from that place of being in that vibration. Because if you're asking those questions when you're in your dysfunction, you're going to get different answers, right? And so it's bringing the masculine and the feminine in. And as Deb was saying, being okay with there is no right or wrong, just allowing and having fun with it, like being in your innocence and your joy and your playfulness, as Deb was saying, and embodying our divinity and asking from that place, what is it I'm going to do today from this place towards those beautiful end results, that alignment of living the life I love and being in my true nature and purpose. So asking, but every day being dedicated and committed to stepping into that, instead of listening to that limited being that wants to keep you in this old cycle of limitation and the past, right? So being able to really step into that genius zone and ask the good questions from there, and then taking action on it, because that's important too.
Thank you so much. And it's so essential, this morning practice. I'm walking that path with you because that is my non-negotiable. Starting the day out with the centering practice, doing some inspirational reading, just connecting, breathing into this new day that we get to experience and how we want to move forward in it. I like to read my guiding principles that I created at the beginning of this year, for example, which is basically a combination of intentions and affirmations put together. And that helps align me and support me in how I want to be showing up, becoming who I came here to be and doing what I came here to do. And one of those is I now open to the divine presence, moving through me in service to humanity, and surrendering to how we're being led into this practice, because we're not doing this alone, right? We're doing this with each other. We're co-creating with the divine. And that we keep coming back to that. And I just love it. I love it. And I'm curious, Heidi, what sustains your passion and your drive?
What sustains my passion and my drive is when I see clients become their own best friends. It really, I don't know how to describe the sense I get, because I remember when I figured it out, and it didn't mean everything in my head was perfect. It didn't mean the world was perfect. It didn't mean it, but it meant I was my own best friend. and I could soothe myself and help myself. I started being able to ask for, what I needed, things like that. So that really lights me up. And I realized recently I opened a retreat center last year up here in the States. And I just recently had a group in, because I do my own workshops as well as rent it out. And it was really interesting because the two facilitators, their comment when they left was how held and nurtured they felt, that the space just held them. And they were able to feel themselves grow just being there. And I always say, well, I'm just the cook while you're here. And they said, you're not. And I realized that's what I love to do more than anything. And it lights me up when I can create that space that people are empowered in, and they get to be the magic that they are. I just, I'm holding back because I can just go on it. I mean, because it's just, it really does light me up, because it's just amazing to watch that. So cool.
So cool. And it's such a testament to how to sustain your passion when you can recognize what lights you up, what you love, and to keep doing that, right? So you keep building that momentum and building up that passion.
Yeah. And even in those moments of, like you've put something out and it may not be coming to fruition, and you're getting in, the other side of that is not being attached to the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
It's the knowing. I know Elizabeth and Deb both touched on that. It's really, for me, it's letting go of what I think it should be. And when I do that successfully, it's so much better than I could have even imagined. So it's very much, it's that, and truly letting go. I mean, I had wanted a retreat center for 35 years. And I had tried a couple times, and it didn't work. And instead of getting all upset and saying it'll never happen, I finally let go of it. And in about 5 or 6 years, unfortunately my parents passed, which was really sad, but my brother and sister all of a sudden were on board, and they're like, you've always wanted to make a retreat center. I did do the business aspect of it. I gave them all the business things. That's part of it. But what really had happened was, years ago, I had just let go. It's like, I knew this is what I wanted, and I just let it go to the universe, and I didn't know how it was going to show up, and then it does.
Yeah.
So I think that's the other thing, is just, it could show up in 5 minutes. It could show up in 20 years. You don't know.
Everything blossoms in its own time. Everything does. And it's believing in that, believing that it will. You were meant to have this retreat center. You just had to be patient and trust the process of how that was going to show up. Just like when we plant anything, flowers, right? We don't want to force that. Everything grows in its own time and blooms to its fullest glory at the right time, with the right nutrients and all the elements, like all the things that need to come together that are behind the scenes, that cosmic intelligence that supports that vision and aligns you with that mission.
Yeah. And that includes our own wisdom.
Yes.
If I had been handed this 20 years ago, I would not have known how to create the space that I've had, so that facilitators feel held, so they can hold their guests easily.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than just, retreat centers that I've taught in, where it's just, here's the food, here's the bed, have a nice time, and here's things you need to know.
Right.
I wouldn't have been able to do what I do now 20 years ago. So yeah, it's the knowing that our own inner wisdom is growing while we're waiting quietly, patiently for things to happen.
Yeah. And that's how you're now able to create these sacred retreats and hold that sacred space for people. And it's not just letting go, it's actually entering into that state of grace as well. Supriya, what sustains you?
Oh gosh, I'm loving this conversation. Yeah, like having I know, like having non-negotiables in the morning. I know a couple of you said that already, and just that, to me, I have like a few non-negotiables. As a Reiki practitioner, I do like Reiki on myself, do the Reiki precepts every morning. That is a serious non-negotiable for me. I will be very off for the day if I don't have that, if I don't do the meditation. Like, and of course, doing like the journaling and everything also has been really helpful. But what sustains me is I have to like ditto everybody here that said like doing what lights you up, and doing what truly you're truly passionate about. And that has sustained me more than anything else in business, because I'm here, and I feel like a lot of people in this room here, we're all here to help people. We're all here to like move forward in some way and help other people move forward in some way. And that is what lights me up. I want to heal other people. I'm a healer at heart, and that's really what sustains me and helping people move forward in their lives and in their businesses. Because yeah, I am like a business coach at the end of the day, but I do help like lives. I do help change lives. I do help transform lives. So it's really in their life as well. A lot of the work that I do, yes, it's with the chakras, but the chakras, it flows into a lot of different areas. Love lives, every part of their areas, their relationships in general, and all that stuff. And it transforms their business and their lives so much. So that's what lights me up, and that's what sustains me at the end of the day.
Thank you, Supriya. And Jessika, you've been in the leadership field for many years now. You probably have a million different practices that help sustain your passion and your drive, and seen it in the leaders that you've created and worked alongside. And so what do you have to offer?
Well, first of all, I'm always thankful that I grew up on a farm, because it gave me the knowledge of cycles, and things go up, things go down, things are ever flowing. And I'm so thankful for that. I think some of my practices are surrender in the evening, surrender everything, surrender the idiotic, surrender the goofy, surrender the thankfulness, and just give that, because my mind can just keep going and I can't get to sleep for like 4 hours and stuff like that. And that's so the second thing is meditation has really helped me quite a bit. And if I can't sleep, I will do meditation at night, and I always find time during the day to do, my goal is an hour a day, and sometimes I can't get to that point. And then what lights me up, I'll give a story or two. When I was a film director in California, and what lit me up is to be able to work with actors who are gifted and talented, and to be able to be steward of their emotional energy to move a story along, and to be able to get this team working together of artists, of crew, of varied people with varied backgrounds, to be able to do a project and go together. And it also took an understanding of that in order for them to do their best work, they needed that time to sustain their lives as well. So we take certain breaks. Okay, we're going to sustain right now. And yeah, so it just lights me up. Being alive lights me up. And so does color. Color lights me up. I love having colorful things around.
I love that idea too of color. Yes. Spark that creativity and the inspiration, and balances the chakra system. All of the things. Yes, color. Beautiful. Love that. Love this whole conversation. This has been absolutely amazing. And Lisa, as an attendee, I wonder if you have any questions or comments or other input that you'd like to share. And I invite anyone who's watching us too on any of the many platforms. This is on live right now. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. We have someone moderating that will check those and pass them on to us so that we can include you in this conversation as well. So Lisa, is there anything?
No, I love what everybody's saying. I mean, it just feels so yummy to my heart, and it feels like I'm home. It feels like, like I'm with people that understand what's actually really going on beyond the illusion of what normal people think is going on. It just feels really good to sit in this circle that we're in, and just, the energy feels lovely and the wisdom is so rich. So thank you to everyone who's contributed. That's really all I'm going to say.
Thank you so much for that. And yes, acknowledging the energy in the room and how we've come together to share today. And each one of you, I know, have a day-to-day too. You have different things that you do in your work. So let's give an opportunity to share a little bit about that, what you do in your work, how people connect with you, if there's anything you're offering that people can share as a gift, or what you would like as the next step for people. So Heidi, would you like to start us off with that?
Sure, thanks. And thanks everybody for being here. This was a really wonderful, lovely conversation. Thank you for moderating it, Jennifer. I've really enjoyed it. I've been taking notes. People have said wonderful things and I'm going to use it. But I will give you credit for whoever taught it to me. So I have a number of things I do. I do have the retreat center that I rent out to facilitators as well as run my own retreats. And then I'm a coach. I specialize in people with trauma and how to become your own best friend. And as Elizabeth was talking before, so much of what happens comes from our past. And so if we can learn to sort of dissolve that, make it go away pretty quick, and then refocus on the future and how you want to be and that sort of thing. So that's what really lights me up. And my website, I have it as my name. And up there, I have some books. You're welcome to come and download a free electronic version of one of my 5 books.
Great. Thank you so much for that.
And also, I run a tribe on SacredU called Becoming Your Own Best Friend.
Ah, fantastic. Thank you for mentioning that. That's so great.
Plug in for SacredU. It's
yes,
cool. Amazing people,
absolutely.
Wonderful tribes, all kinds of fun stuff.
Thank you, Heidi. And Deb King, do you have some offers or what you're doing? What's going on for you?
Sure, thank you. Well, as SacredU is such a beautiful community that loves to connect with each other, I'd like to invite anyone who resonates and wants to connect. I would love to connect more with everyone in this community. I am the co-founder of a business called the Wisdom Playground with an amazing partner called Gabby Button. And we also are building an incredible platform called Coach Training Campus. And we're also helping launch a wellbeing company globally. So there's all these things happening. But I would say if you're a coach, please let me know and we can connect, and I can invite you to some free trainings we have and some resources. And if you're not a coach, but you want to connect, I have a download that can help you bring more play into your life. So just send me a message with the word play and I'll send that to you. So best way to contact me is either through our website, thewisdomplayground.com, or all the socials, Deb King. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, all the things. So looking forward to connecting with more SacredU family.
Yay, so fun. And Jessika, how do people connect with you and what would they expect when they do?
Oh, yes, please connect with me. I have a website that's jessikasatori.com. And I'm putting a couple more books online that will be happening this year. I also have a book that's in the Substack format. I release a chapter a week. It's called Momisms. And these were pithy sayings my mom would say in order for us to grow up, So things like, when you knock something down, pick it up, care for others. And there was one, I just lost it. I just posted it. But it's really fun. She was a live wire who was a World War II soldier in India. And she was in Chicago when Al Capone was running wild and things like that. So she had quite a life. So each chapter outlines a story about her and then how it influenced me in life. So it's free. And so just reach out to my website, and my email is jessika@jessikasatori.com, and I can give you more information.
Wow, that's so awesome and so interesting. That would definitely be a great read. And all of these links that everyone's mentioning are going to be in the comments. So take a look for that and you can easily click into them. Elizabeth, what are you all about in your day-to-day?
So what I do is I work with self-led business women basically to create their life, but in life and business, but people that are getting inconsistent results in what they do. And I show them, I basically share the secrets of alchemy and how to create consistent results without the overwhelm and the masculine, go, go, go. So there's a balance of both masculine and feminine. So I have a website, ElizabethElenor.com, that has my Conscious Creator Mastermind on there. And I've also, I think my link tree is the link that you should be sharing. So there's some freebies on there and some free meditations as well. But if you want to connect with me, it's Elizabeth Elenor, the Intuitive Warrior on Facebook, or just Elizabeth Elenor. My Elenor is spelt quite uniquely. It was something, I don't know why, but it's nice to be able to say Elenor is a unique way of spelling. So it's easy to find me. I'm the only Elizabeth Elenor on Facebook with that spelling. So unless they're doing, like I sometimes find other Facebook, the spam ones or whatever. But yeah, I basically share with women how to create with consistent results to get, to bend time so that they are getting their results faster than they thought was possible. So I love watching the magic that happens in our course. And we've had everything from pregnancies, a woman that was trying to get pregnant for 10 years, fall pregnant after working with me for a week, to, going to 6 figures, to people that left their jobs to create businesses. It's, you name it, health conditions, all sorts of stuff. Very exciting to play in the magic of the universe. So that's what I do.
Some really exciting results. And I love the name Intuitive Warrior. That's really awesome. And alchemy is just one of my favorite words. So you're speaking my language. Supriya, how do people connect with you and your work?
Yeah, so I'm a business chakra alignment strategist. You can connect with me on social media. I'm at Supriya.digital at Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. On LinkedIn, I am just Supriya Prasad on there. And yeah, and of course, I work with any entrepreneur that is stuck and looking to make a change in their business, and they are stuck in their flow and they don't know how to really get out of it. And I use the chakra system to help them unblock it all. And I've helped people grow exponentially on YouTube from 300 to 3,500 working with me, manifest money, all of that stuff. And that's just a couple of things I've helped my clients do. So, and of course they can email me to Supriya@SupriyaPrasad.com. I also have a free course, and that's the introduction to the business chakras as well.
Fantastic. Thank you. Again, all those links are in the comments. And I am Jennifer Regular, also known as the Soul Illuminator at Lighting the Path. You can learn all about all the wonderful things they do at lightingthepath.ca. Mostly what I love to do is help you integrate soulful practices into your life so that you can lead others in a meaningful way. So I mostly work with visionary entrepreneurs, business leaders, and conscious organizations that want to make a positive impact. And so really align their vision and the mission to be able to do that, but from the heart. And I also host the Awaken and Ascend podcast on YouTube. So it's just youtube.com at Awaken and Ascend, which is also where we've been hosting the Wake Up and Change the World Global Summit this week. So be sure to check that out as well. And now we're going to hear from Lisa DePamphilis again, because she has a tribe or two on SacredU.Love and is going to also share how you can become a member.
Yeah, thank you, Jennifer. So I co-host a tribe with Josette Diaz, and it's called the Magical Playground, and it's an intuitive art creativity tribe. We just have a lot of fun. We start with meditation and we expand the space of all possibility and opportunities to come into your life. And so we do that through anything creative. We made these, huh, Jennifer, for summer solstice.
Oh, we did.
Yeah. And we do all kinds of art and drawing and painting stuff. So yeah, that's called the Magical Playground. We'd love to have you come join us. And also, we would love to have anybody watching, listening to join the Sacred U. You can join for only $1 and check out all the tribes and have access to all the events and everything and then the information, the links will be down below where you're watching this, and they'll be sent out in the email too. But it's such a great community for connection. And if you love the conversation and love what we're talking about, you are with the right tribe. So we would love to have you join us.
Yes, yes, yes. So I just want to take a moment to just share my deep appreciation, gratitude, and love for every single one of you that have been here in the Zoom room, sharing from the heart, and every one of you that have been watching us live on the various platforms or even on the replay. We love you, we appreciate you, and we want the very best for you. So let's just do this together. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.